Hello, and welcome to another short little YouTube video from us over here at SALT. I hope you are doing well. You've had a good morning, afternoon, evening, or why are you still awake at 3 a.m. and watching SEO videos? My name's Dan Taylor, and today I am joined by Natalia. Hi, Natalia.
Hi, you alright?
So Natalia wasn't expecting me to be so bubbly on this one. So we are little under 2 weeks into the age of AI in Google, and it's been a hot topic ever since SGE was first announced a little over a year ago, of the IO in 2023. And with ChatGPT, everything else, there's been a furthest rush in how AI can be used for processes, everything else, and ultimately benefit travel and the travel user, the travel process, travel discovery, everything. And just before, nicely timed, about 2, 3 weeks ago, pre AI era, so we're back in the old days, ye olde days of SEO without the AI overviews being public. We actually went out and we did a test. So we took 10 cities from 10 continents ish. We looked at 10 cities in Europe, 10 cities in North America, so America and Canada, 10 in the Middle Eastern countries and the Gulf bloc, another 10 in Asia/Oceania, through a couple of Australian ones in there, and also 10 across Africa. So 50 cities overall across 5 continents. And we basically asked 4 LLMs to plan travel itineraries for 2 days to visit these cities. So we used Search Drivers for Experience within Google Labs. We asked ChatGPT-4 plus browsing to give it a best shot. We asked Copilot, and we asked Meta AI, because I've got some interesting thoughts on Meta as well, but I don't think we're giving it the level of credence it needs to. Ultimately, what we actually found with that, and all the blog posts is on the Salt blog, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but some of the top level stats and things like that. So across 50 locations, Google Search Results Experience recommended 34 things to do, which are all quite nice. But Meta, they recommended 708. We also saw Copilot do 430 and ChatGPT 553. So Google was a bit further behind in offering less things to do, really. And what's interesting is now all that studies on the Soul side, but since AIOVs have rolled out, we've kind of gone back and gone, well, let's pull that as a fifth source. Let's compare AI overviews for the same queries over against what Search Gentle Experience was doing. Our thought process was that it's rolled out, it's public facing, it'll probably be more robust, it'll be probably a bit better. But what's actually happened is the total number of places that it recommended has dropped from 344 to 298. Notably, and I say this notably because one of the things we've also tried to look into is really whether or not there's bias to different parts of the world and different information parts in this. Because especially when we did the first data study, information on Africa and Asia was a little bit light in comparison to Europe and North America. Well, in Google's latest poll, Asia has dropped from about 79 things being pulled through to 47. So there's quite a lot of data change in this. So this potentially suggests that AI overviews are not as bold, and there are slightly, it's pulling from a different data set and it's behaving differently to what SGE did in testing. And it's definitely behaving different to what ChatGPT, well, 4 we did try ChatGPT 3, but the level of hallucination on it was horrendous, and it had just made a very over the top. What's the word I'm looking for? There's a word I'm looking for now. Come on, your content, please help me out.
Say it again.
It was when a news story or something like that is a little bit OTT.
Over dramatic, over the top.
Yeah, all those words in advance. It made for a sensationalist. There we go. It made for a sensationalist headline of a blog post of everything being wrong and the world being sad. But given how the content stuff is changing, and obviously AI is going to impact travel, it's going to impact discoverability. That's why I kind of wanted to bring and have you across this now. So I appreciate I've just spoken for 4 minutes about a lot of data and how all the different AIs are pulling through different things. And it looks like from a numbers perspective, especially with a number of hallucinations and bad places that AI overusers had compared to SGE in testing, how worried from a content perspective do you think we need to be for travel? And what would you really recommend in terms of how we pivot our strategies moving forward from what we're seeing from the AI era so far?
I think there's opportunity there, and it's just being able to kind of like evolve with this new era of search. So I think obviously people are searching, and a lot of the time they just want answers. They want quick information. If I'm looking for the closest place to me in so and so city, I don't want a big article about like the best places in that city. I just want a specific answer. So I think it's about making sure that the content is very specific and it's got the user first, and we're thinking about what serves our users' needs and whereabouts they are in the journey. And it's just kind of what we've been doing, but to a new level. So thinking about attention spans and backing things up and user intent, and as we've spoke about before, sort of query stacking and things like that. Just thinking about how users are going to change how they're interacting with search. So obviously, the more AI overviews, people are like, "Oh, okay, this is good," and they start using it, and they're not going to click through to other things. Just thinking about how our content can serve these interactions.
Yeah, no, and I think with that, one of the key things you said there is understanding how users are going to start interacting with everything. So it's great that we're talking about Google and the AI overviews and Google's AI, but for me, and like I said previously, Meta and their AI, I feel is going to be quite impactful for the travel industry as well. So, for those who aren't aware, Meta AI is the AI product being developed by effectively the Facebook holding group. The plan, I believe, from what they've announced, is it's going to be rolled out across WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, and within the Facebook wall profile ecosystem. I've not been on Facebook for 8 years. I don't know what they call it. The actual thing itself. So the market penetration rate off a bat for that is going to be high. They have billions of monthly active users, and you're going to have the ability where you're going to have people in group chats on WhatsApp and in Facebook Messenger planning a girls' weekend away somewhere, and one they're going to start looking for, I don't know, cottages to rent or group things to do or anything like that, where they would leave the application and go to Chrome or go to Safari and do a search. They can actually activate Meta AI within the group chat and have a group AI search experience. So that's going to detract and and if the adoption of that is as high as it potentially could be, that's going to change how users are discovering elements and things to do. It's going to have a discover companies, have a discover accommodations, travel methods, and that data is also going to be taken away from our Google ecosystem as well. So we're not going to see it in Search Console. We're not going to see it in third-party tools. So there's that on the roadmap as well from a travel planning perspective and research.
Yeah, definitely. I think like just going back to sort of this data that we've done before. So like last year when I was going on a trip to Madrid, I thought, okay, I'll have a go with ChatGPT and see how I can plan a 4-day itinerary for us all. And it was quite good at finding the places, but what it really struggled with was sort of like, I was like, okay, now organize this for distance for us to walk. So organize these places. Like, I don't want to be one end of the city and then have to get to the other if the next place is right next to me. And that's something that GPT really, really struggled with. And I know on Google I/O there was examples of sort of how it's planning these travel itineraries, and it's giving distances and Google Maps and reviews and Google Business profiles, and it was all very interesting. And I think that's going to be really like interesting to see how the user interaction with this actually works. It's going to be interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the part of it is like, yeah, ChatGPT was great. It's used. I very much wonder how outside of kind of our bubble and almost like the tech world bubble, how much of the average Joe bubble uses ChatGPT for stuff, whereas Google search, obviously, search is increasing. You've got the meta element. Also, Google, and even to a point, because Facebook has got Facebook Places, it does have location pages, it has company pages, it has all that data stored in there. They can pull on that a lot better in theory, and they can exactly do what you said there. They can help you say, well, if you go to this restaurant, it's 30 minutes away from this landmark. Typically, you'll spend 40 minutes at this landmark, and it can give you that itinerary because it pulls it through now. It tells you when a location is busy. When I get into my car and it knows, oh, you're in your car, it's 5 o'clock, you're at this location, it will actually tell me, right, you're 35 minutes from Asda and you're 45 minutes from home. And I'm like, why do you know I'm doing this? Like, the mystery of that relationship with my car is gone. And that's because of how Google has the data on there. So if it's surfacing that in a 7-year-old Seat, it's definitely going to be surfacing that in the planning feature because, like you said, it's not just the AI overviews. Planning search is the other key element they showed, and that will come to hotels, that will come to flights. And I mean, my opinion on that is it's going to come based on changes they're having to make from the Digital Markets Act because they're going to have to stop being as prominent with their hotel and flights planner as they have previously. So this is a great way to kind of recoup some revenue and exposure in that regard.
Yeah, agreed.
So that's kind of our initial thoughts on AI in travel and content and how that's going to affect users over time. So I kind of guess in just kind of like a summary, Nat, for everyone who's actually stuck with us for the 11 and a half minutes so far, if they had to start planning one thing tomorrow as and understanding their risk and exposures for the AI overview stuff, what would you recommend they start doing?
I think assessing content for on a content perspective, assessing content for how it serves users' needs. So thinking about these different points of the journey that people are going to be at, whether they want a quick answer, whether they want in an overview of a city, whether they want in recommendations, listicles, or whether they just want a quick answer. I think really assessing that content and kind of seeing what's missing from various stages is a really good place to start.
No, and I think I'd layer that from an SEO perspective as well, that understanding how frequent the AI overviews are being triggered for your searches, but then also where it's pulling the data from. So a good example of this, in some testing I'm doing at the moment, I know in the luxury fashion and retail fashion section, about 70% of all the sources being used in the AI overviews are coming from sources not on the first page. Whereas what I'm looking at the moment in terms of like the tours market, hotels, and the travel side, it's the inverse. It's 70-80% is coming from those ranking on the first page. So understanding where the sources are, understanding what your exposure is to it, is really then going to impact what you do in terms of content and what you do in terms of moving forward. Because there's no point in trying to be first if you've actually got a better click-through rate and positioning from the AI overview being 11th. But it's the balance of the overall strategy, and it's evolving from a basic travel SEO strategy of keywords, links, and content through to user visibility, brand visibility, and creating those touch points when and where, I guess.
Yeah, completely
Yeah.
agree.
So on that, this is just a quick hot take, like I said, a quick first thoughts. We are going to be releasing more content looking at AI and travel marketing over coming months. So if you'd like to see that, please show us that you like this video by dropping a like and subscribing to the SALT YouTube channel, as well as videos like this that we drop more frequently and will be coming more frequently. We also do a number of sessions on LinkedIn Live, and we'll be doing more live streams and Q&As as well. So I'd like to first thank you for your time, and thank you very much for watching. Goodbye now.
Thank you.